Hey guys, welcome back to Gear Nation. It's your host here, Bobby, and we have some really awesome stuff we're going to go over with our boys over at Parker Performance. Josh, thank you so much for coming in. I know we're going to touch on some really awesome things. The first thing I want to touch on is, of course, how you guys started. Tell me a little about your place.
Yeah, so I've been a long time automotive enthusiast, right? Dating back to the 90s. I wasn't old enough yet to have a car myself or even a license. But I started a car club early, right? And so like I've been doing this for a long time. Fast forward many years later, and I've got one of the faster EcoBoosts, in my possession. And guys are asking like, how did I do that? How did I get that car to do the things I'd made it do? And so I would just tell them to come by my house, and we would work in my garage on their car. And so then it just spiraled into something that became a business, and we were just doing it, like I said, for fun. And what happened is we were having so many cars at my home that the county came and was like, "You're running a business out of your house.
This is no more. This is not just fun.
This isn't just fun." I had 6 cars when they pulled up with the sheriff and the code enforcement officer. I was putting my gloves on and taking we were doing a clipboard of the customer's intake stuff, and like, how can you argue with that? Like, it's like, oh no, this isn't a business. So
here's your receipt.
Yeah, so we were kind of forced into making it a real business, and my business partner at the time, he's a much younger man, and his parents weren't necessarily believers in what we were doing. So we kind of needed to make it a business to prove to them. And so if I could do this for free every day, I would. But we've got bills to pay and stuff. So anyway, the backstory is I'm a Ford guy through and through. My grandfather did the upholstery for the 64.5 Mustangs at Ford. Retired from Ford. My dad wasn't around, so my grandfather's son was a big Ford guy, Escort GT, Mustang GT, Cobra. So that's the stuff that I grew up around. My Uncle Nick, who's no longer with us, he was a Mustang guy. Very first car I ever drove was a Mustang. So Mustangs happened because of that. The business happened because of doing it for other enthusiasts. And so one of our taglines is, for enthusiasts, by enthusiasts. And that's very important to me. I'm a business owner, yes, and we do need to at some point make profit, of course. Yet I treat every car as if it were my own, like as if you were my best friend and you brought me your car and said, "Hey man, I've got this."
You definitely give me that feeling when you come in here. I feel more of a family orientated. You go in, you're going to get one-on-one attention.
Definitely.
This is the place you guys want to bring your vehicles and feel confident it's done. It's going to be done right, and you're going to do it with passion, not just
that's the thing.
Rushing
passion.
it off like another number, coming on and pushing it off. This is not what you're going to get here, guys. You guys are going to get passion. You're going to get people come through that they're going to want it right. They're going to want it done right for themselves, not just a cookie cutter, get done, assembly line.
Perfect example of that is like, we get a kid come in for an oil change, right? Cool, simple enough. You drain the oil, you put the oil back in, right? While I'm doing the oil change, I'm noticing that his blow-off valve, like he's got some janky vacuum line. It's like hitting he's got a pulley that it runs across, and it's tapping the pulley every once in a while. So the vacuum line's got like these nicks in it. That's just unacceptable to me. Now the man came for an oil change, and I could obviously go in and try and pitch him and be like, "Hey buddy, you got to do this, it's going to cost X, Y." I don't even mess with that. I run out back, I grab vacuum line, a handful of zip ties, and while the oil is draining, I'm in there and I go through that shit and I just make it right.
That's a difference.
So I just run it correctly, I protected everything, I put the zip ties, put it in, and then I show him when I'm done. "Oh, by the way, we were doing your oil change, I noticed this, I took care of that." What did it take me? Like, it was the same amount of time that I invested to do the oil change anyway. It took me $8 in zip ties and vacuum line, big freaking deal. But this kid's not gonna come back with a vacuum leak, and he didn't have to pay any money out. So, for enthusiasts, by enthusiasts, that's really important to me. It's what I want to present. It's the motto that I desire to live our lives by.
Bleed Ford Blue, huh?
And I bleed Ford Blue, man. You cut me open, and Mustang logo.
I can see that, man. I can see that. Let's touch base and see what kind of crazy custom builds. I know you have something really special in your possession. Let's go over how you actually got able to acquire that.
Yeah, so I own the 0010 serial number RTR Spec 5 Mustang that Vaughn Gittin Jr. had built. He's the owner of RTR. He's a professional drifter. Anybody who's tuning in here probably knows who he is. And so Vaughn built this car for SEMA at the time in which he had not yet received Ford's OEM Plus designation. That OEM Plus designation is reserved for the highest of quality and the most integrity of builders. You guys are going to be familiar with those builders. It's going to be Roush, it's going to be Saline, right? These guys. So Vaughn is, so obviously Shelby, Roush, and Saline are the first three to ever obtain that. The fourth one is Vaughn Gittin Jr. So in my estimation, if you owned serial number 1 of anything from Shelby, or serial number 1 of anything from Saline, or serial number 1 from anything from Roush,
Priceless.
you're probably going to be in a really good position from a financial stance with that vehicle. So what happened in this instance is we run a page called Florida S550 on Facebook, and if you have an S550 and you're in Florida, check it out, floridas550.com. And it's just a community of S550 Mustang owners who share data and information and swap what parts work, what parts don't work, and parts for sale, and what shop to go to for this, that, and the other. And we've got about 3,000 members. And at about 7 a.m. in the morning, a post goes up, and it was like, you know, this picture with a bunch of puking emojis of this car. Because it's wide-bodied, and that doesn't necessarily appeal to everybody. Yeah. And at like 7 a.m., it was just a picture with the puking emojis and like 2 or 3 comments of people jumping on the hater bandwagon. Yep. Around noon, I go to the restroom, and I'm checking my phone, my updates and stuff, and there's like 58 comments now on this thread. And I watch all the threads because I'm an admin. Yeah. And some of the thread posts were like, oh, that was Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s car. Oh, that was the SEMA car. Oh, that's the OG. It's number 1. It doesn't even have a serial. All this stuff. And so I went back out to the shop, and I told the guys, I'm like, if 25% of this backstory is true, I have to go see this car. And if it checks out, like, I have to probably find a way to buy this car. Now, it was posted for sale at a Nissan dealer in Claremont. So we worked all day. It was like 6:30. I'm sitting back in the pool. We were cleaning up, and Zach's sweeping the floor. Sanders is like, all right, I'm out of here. And so Sanders leaves. And I say to Zach, I'm like, how funny would it be if tomorrow morning when Sanders pulls up to the shop and he opens the door, that RTR is sitting in the garage? And Zach's like, no balls. So we hauled ass over to Claremont and bought the car. Beforehand, there was some stuff. We did some research. We made sure that there were some things that were identifying factors of the car that I could confirm that it was in fact that vehicle. I was able to confirm that when I got there. There was about 13 people standing around the car, multiple salesmen, a handful of buyers. When I walked up, and this is like a moment for me where this was the first time this had ever happened. Somebody's like, oh, that's Josh Parker from Parker Performance from YouTube. And I was like, oh, and I went up and shook his hand and introduced myself, and he's like, oh, are you here to buy the RTR? I'm like, I don't know, why are you? And he's like, well, they're appraising my car right now. And I was like, shit, if this guy's getting his car, like, there's already. So I saw another salesman sitting on the hood of a Nissan, just like kind of like, you know, on Twitter or whatever. And so I walked up to him, and I kind of went over to him, and I'm like, look, I need to buy that car with all those people around it without any of those people having the chance to buy it. I have cash, I have credit, what do you need? Like, how can I buy this car? And he goes, come with me, we'll go talk to the finance manager. So we go inside, he pulls my credit, thank God I wasn't lying, and he's like, look, if you want it, he's like, give me a check, and let's go. I'm like, I'll give you a check right now, and we'll negotiate later. He's like, here's the keys. So I went out, and these guys are all talking and kicking rocks, and I drive away with the car. And so I take the salesman with me, and he's like, get on it, and so I do, and the car's fine, and it's got some issues, you know, like the lights are broken, the gas cap's missing, all sorts of parts are messed up. But you gotta understand, this was the prototype for their build, so those things are bound to happen when the car has not been cared for. So I purchased the car, I pay $37,000, which is just used GT Performance Pack money for the car. Okay, $37,006. And the way I get him to agree to my price is he made me agree to keep his financing for 6 months. I said, I'll do you one better, I'll keep it for 12. Yeah. So I kept their financing for 12 months, and then I refied out. Anyway, I get the car, we go into the backstory of trying to find out like all the details in the car. I connect with Vaughn Gittin Jr., I connect with the guys at RTR. We find out that what happened is when they built this car for SEMA, they were trying to get the OEM Plus designation from Ford. Okay. So at the time, Roush had not yet developed the blower for the 18-up Mustang because it changes from direct injection. Now it's got the direct injection in the Valley, so they had to modify the intercooler. So Roush had not yet received their CARB exemption, and Vaughn couldn't put the blower on the car without CARB exemption to obtain Ford OEM Plus certification. So they took the car out with all their collateral marketing that said 727 horsepower, supercharged RTR Spec 5, and never popped the hood. So it sold at SEMA for a discount to a young man who lived here in Florida, and a part of the sale agreement, it's my understanding that he had a time frame given to him with which he had to purchase the blower, install the blower, get the car certified. I guess when the time came to do that, he decided to just punt instead. So he traded the car in on like a Nissan 370Z or something. and they hung like a $30,000 negative amortization rider on him.
Oh my goodness.
So like, I don't know what happened in his life that led him to there, and I apologize for the things that may have happened to you, but thank you.
Yes.
Because it's been an amazing victory for me. So like I said, we paid $37,000 for the car. It didn't have the blower on it, and I'm like, okay, well, I want this car to have the serial number, and I want Vaughn to see the car, and I want to get these parts that are broken fixed. Yeah. And so I start talking with him on Instagram and going back and forth, and he's like, oh man, he's like, yeah, that's a prototype part, that's why that failed. Oh, yep. And so he sends me replacement parts with production parts for the whole car. Everything that was broken, they replaced with production parts. And I've had those production parts on the car for the 2 years I've owned it now without an issue. And we've done a lot to the car, and one of the things is we did get the blower installed, and we did receive serial number 1. So that was a big moment.
Freaking awesome, dude.
I wasn't expecting it to be an emotional moment, and yet when I got the package, I was all hyped and excited. And my boys, we have a little YouTube channel, and my boys are, filming it for the YouTube channel, and we haven't released this yet still. And like, I pulled the serial number out, and I was overcome with emotion, man. Through this whole process, I had died in March of 2019 for like 1 minute and 40 seconds, where my wife, had to bring me up and take me to the hospital and all this stuff. And we were thinking we were gonna have to sell the car to pay for my medical bills. And so all this stuff had happened. So we had gone through, like I said, we had started at the shop, gotten kicked out at my house, right? And then had to start an actual shop. And so there was all this tumultuous things going on that when I got that serial number, it was kind of like that, right?
It's beautiful, man.
And so I was way more choked up than I had anticipated, and so I cried on camera.
God bless you, man.
And it was in that moment that I decided that, all right, this car will never leave my possession. Probably, like, I can't imagine any reason for this car to leave my possession. So we've made some changes to it. It's a 2018 Mustang. It's a GT. It's a performance package. It's a Spec 5, which is every part that RTR offers for the Mustang. So it's wide-bodied. It's now supercharged. It does make the 727 crank horsepower. And then I put long tube headers exhaust on it, and we put a bunch of parts on it from our sponsors, UPR, Liqui Moly, stuff like this. And we take it racing, and I'm like, all right, I need it to go faster. So to go faster, I want to go ahead and do oil pump, gears, and crank sprocket. And I pull the car apart to do that, and I find part of the piston skirt in the oil pan.
Oh.
So currently, old RTR is down with a motor rebuild, and we are having a new bullet put in from Fast Forward Racing Engines right here in, they're in Newport Richey, they're in Pasco, so the next county down from us here. And Fast Forward put me together a block that'll hold 1,200 horsepower. We had the blower ported, so the blower, according to the porter, should be good for 950 to 1,000 horsepower. He doesn't see an issue. I don't know that we'll take it there yet. We'll see, man. So I'm super excited. Yeah, it's good to have that headroom. Yeah. And for us as a business, I want that to be a calling card for us. I want people to see that car and know these are the things that we can do. And for us as automotive enthusiasts, I really want to tell the story of the car. I really feel like that's an important part of Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s legacy, is building that car, obtaining, by the way, they did obtain OEM Plus certification. Anyone who's looking for an RTR can go to any Ford dealership across the country that's RTR approved and order an RTR Spec Mustang. They're now doing F-150s and Rangers and offering parts for those aftermarket and building cars for them through Ford. So it's just really cool to see him earn that. And for me as a business owner and entrepreneur, I don't expect to necessarily achieve that same level as him, but it gives me hope and it gives me inspiration to keep chasing that kind of level.
Definitely getting there, my friend.
Right?
Definitely.
And my intentions are that, maybe we don't become the next Vaughn Gittin Jr., yet maybe we're part of that story somehow, and maybe that being a part of that story helps grow our brand and helps grow who we are. And we just want to be great brand ambassadors for the guys who are in business with us, like RTR, Long Tube, UPR, these guys that have stepped up to the plate to support a small enthusiast-owned business. We're not some big business. We're not selling tens of thousands of dollars of parts a day, but we'd like to.
Yes.
But these guys stepped up to the plate when we were we're still a nobody, but when we were literally nobody, and have helped us. And so, yeah, man, owning that car has been a riot, dude. You take it to any car show. One of the coolest things is young kids. And you take the young kid and you put them in the seat. I have a really awesome picture of the very first car show I took it to in West Palm Beach. The gentleman's son was nervous, right? He didn't want to ask about the car. He knew, I guess, the etiquette of don't touch, you know,
Yep.
kind of thing of nice cars. And the gentleman asked me, he says, hey man, do you mind if my son and I take some pictures? And I'm like, I'll do you one better. And I open the door, I'm like, have a seat.
Yeah.
And for me, the purpose there is, this is so much more than turning wrenches.
100%, man.
If this doesn't get your juices flowing and it doesn't make you feel in love with life and the passion of automotive and the passion of performance sports, you're doing the wrong things for the wrong reason. If you're just doing this to get Instagram followers, I don't think you're doing it for the right reasons. And for me, I was a child at that young man's age who didn't have a relationship with my father, who didn't have, you know, a ton of positive male influence. And we desire as business owners to make that a change. We're going to start a 501(c) at some point, and it's going to be called Scarlett's House. And Scarlett's House is going to have a part of the business where it's called Kids Corner. When we're out at the racetrack, we're going to have a corner set up at the racetrack with a tent where single mothers or even single fathers who may not be automotive enthusiasts can bring their kid and they can pull it up to the tent and they can learn how to do an oil change, or they can learn how to change a tire, or they can learn how to read a tire pressure gauges. As simple could be, the things to educate them and prepare them for a life of automotive, you know, ownership. Whether that becomes a passion that they become an enthusiast with or not, or it just becomes something to protect them from getting scam ran on them on the side of the road.
Bringing joy to some kid's life.
Yeah, so for us, right, seeing that little kid get in the car and just the beaming, radiant smile that came off this young man's face, and the dad was so grateful. I'm a father now, right?
God bless you, man.
I have 3 kids. I don't have that same story of my dad taking me to the car show, right? But if I can be a part of that story now in a different light, you bet your bottom dollar I'm trying to do that. So we love taking the car to car shows, man. We love letting the kids see it. You know, I daily drive the thing when it's on the road. Like, I don't treat it like it's some, you know, pristine one-of-one thing. You know, like the Carroll Shelby serial number 1 car was painted 17 times. It was driven by all these people. And I think that history of that car makes that car more lovable, makes it more
even better, man.
relatable.
Better, yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to put it in a plastic bag and seal it. I want it to be out there, and I want it to be enjoyed by automotive enthusiasts like me, like that little kid who got into the seat and was like, oh my God. You know, I want to be able to do that. I want to create that.
I think you've done that on multiple levels. I think people out there are probably hearing it and feeling it just in your voice. Very, very excited for you to be on the show today.
Man.
Very happy
Thank
to
you
be
for
a part
having
of
us, dude. When this opportunity came up, we were like, absolutely.
So
100%.
I know there's something else you guys just got back from doing. You guys are upping your game to the next level. You guys do all kinds of, you know, installations and upgrades for the Mustangs. Now you're doing something a little special with tuning.
Yeah,
Touch on
so
that a little bit.
I come from a real estate background, right? I own a real estate company, so if you're looking for real estate in the area, hit me up.
Hey.
But in the real estate business, where I learned to be in business was basically, if you ever hit a rut in your business, was my coach, she said, get on a plane. And for us in real estate business, that meant you had to get on a plane and get into a class somewhere. You had to get into a high-level training with someone who was smarter than you, doing it better than you, and just kind of sharpen your axe, right? Iron sharpens iron. And so for us, we had kind of hit a spot in our business where we're kind of plateauing currently on sales, or plateauing on installs. We're earning the same amount of money each month, that kind of stuff. And I said, you know, for us as a business, we need to get into a class. And it's a little different in the automotive industry, and probably in any industry actually, because you've got people who come from a lack mindset and you've got people who come from an abundance mindset. People who come from a lack mindset are like, oh, this is my secret. I'm not going to teach this to you because you'll take it and you'll go do something. If you come from a mindset of abundance, you're like, let me show this to you.
Look how amazing this
because
is.
you can go and do this, and I'll never do it all by myself. So, Bobby, let's go do it together. And so we had to find someone who was from an abundance mindset, and that turned out to be the tuning school in Odessa, Florida. The guys from the tuning school offer a private class, and we're Ford guys, so we bought the Ford private class. They were able to get us in. They flew Tony Goinian down from Tuners Inc., and he was our instructor. And let me just tell you, dude, huge investment of money, huge investment of time, and I can't wait for that to pay dividends. It's one of those things where it's going to take time to return cash on cash, right? Yet the learning that we got and the access and the availability to the people from the tuning school, they give you additional time with the trainer. You get a 12 months access to him, right? So we're tuning our first car right now with him, and he's reviewing the stuff and making sure it's all good. And that way we're not putting anything in our consumer's possession that could damage them. Because as you know, every time the baby starts to walk, that baby falls, right? We are babies and we're learning to walk in the tuning game. Our intentions with tuning is we have to be able to have control. A lot of the big tuners in the S550 Mustang marketplace, which is the primary bread and butter of our business, those guys are busy. This is a thriving platform. Some of these guys are 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 days to get, tunes written and revised and what have you. And then you have stuff where these guys just don't want to tune certain combos. Oh, well, you got a Pro Charger on it? I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Or, oh, it's got a Whipple on it? Well, I don't like Whipple. Yeah, whatever. Like, come on, man. And that tends to wind up being ego-based and not founded in fact. So our intention is to bring the tuning in-house and be able to provide that service, just like I mentioned from before, as an enthusiast who is also a business owner, and provide a great product that we're now in control of delivery, right? We don't have to wait 6, 8, 10 days. So we're in the process currently of trying to purchase a dyno. We're going to bring a dyno in-house, and we intend on tuning all of our own cars. We have 13 cars in our fleet that range from bolt-on EcoBoost to fully built EcoBoosts, to I have a F-150 with a Roush blower on it. I've got the Mustang we just chatted about. We've got a Maverick that we're going to put a 7.3 liter Godzilla crate motor in. We've got an old F-100 that we want to do something in. We've got an E46 BMW that we're going to build. We've got a Ranger that we're building. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. So our intentions are that we want to build those cars, and we want to record the data from those, and we want to share that on our YouTube channel and educate the consumer public, and then start selling it. So it won't be something that we have a return on cash for some time, but we're going to have a return on the education level, the learning level.
What I hear from you saying that is that you guys are going to do it right.
Amen.
You're not rushing into it. You're not saying like half the guys out there that I know are in the tuning industry, I'm a tuner.
Yeah, no thank you.
But they're self-tuning by Google search and how they're going to tune it.
Yeah.
These guys, you want to get done right. You want to do it once. Bring it to the Parker boys over here. They will do it, and they will do it right for you guys.
Yeah,
So
when we're
tuning
ready,
is
we
very
got
important.
you.
Yes. So they will let you know when they're ready. They're
Yes.
honest. They wear it on their sleeve.
Yes, and you know, like with that effect, right? Like, as a business owner, at 18 years old, I bought a car. I dropped it off to get turbocharged. Like 17 months later, I was there with the sheriff and an attorney getting my car back. So as a business owner, I went into this when we decided to make this a business and said, that can never happen.
Yep.
Okay? That thing where you like drive by that one automotive shop and it's got the same 32 cars in the fence, that stuff can't happen,
Yep.
right? And so this is the tuning scenario is a transposition of that exact scenario, okay? I'm not gonna go tune the car, have it blow up, or something of that regard,
Yeah.
and it wind up with egg on our face and an upset customer. In fact, we have had customer cars blow up, and we were chatting about this off camera a little bit. We built a car for a really good friend of mine, and on the test drive, the car blew up. Blower came apart, motor ate it, and I ate it. I built this young man a brand new blower, brand new motor. We did all the labor for free, no charge.
That's a warranty.
You know, and there is no warranty in the aftermarket game.
There is none. That's
And yet I warrant my reputation, right?
Awesome.
And I warrant the enthusiast because I am him. He just happens to be there, and now I'm here.
Now, you're not spending the money, you're taking the money on the opposite side right now.
Yeah, and so, you know, I'm
Respect
still
it.
that enthusiast. And if I was the guy who had the car blown up on my test drive, you can bet your ass I would want that guy to stand by his product and make it right. So that's how I lead my life. And so we're going to do the same with the tuning. I'm not going to do anything for a consumer until we're ready. Now, shout out to Derek Roseberry, one of my longtime customers, a great friend of ours. He's actually leased us his car for the next month, basically.
Awesome.
And we've been just starting at the base and just building a base file and then building the incremental RPM file. And then we're actually going to get ready to start driving it hopefully this week. We're just taking our time with it, reviewing everything. We're making failures on the tune intentionally through our tuner, you know, through our mentor that tunes. Basically, he's saying, hey, go and change this, and it's going to fail, and here's what I want you to learn from that, right? And so we're doing stuff like that where it's failing on purpose so that we can catch it in the future. So shout out to Derek. Thank you, brother.
Anything else to do a shout out for?
Yeah, so let me start out by thanking my wife and my family. They support me. They allow me to do this passion project. Shout out to my boys back at the shop, Sanders, Casey, Grist, Andrew, all you guys, Ricky. Thank you so much for believing in me and being a part of this journey and believing that we're going to make this you know, similar to what Vaughn's doing. And if you guys want to check out our YouTube channel, we would love the subscription and check out our videos. It's youtube.com/Parker Performance. And then if you want to check out our website, it's www.pp-fl.com, pp-fl.com.
Thanks again, guys, for tuning in for Gear Nation Podcast. Till next time, see you.